I'm sure majority of you have seen the Nürburgring crash of last weekend, and if you haven't, then you have to Google, because I cannot show it to you due to my media license. I risk a big penalty in all kinds of ways. So yeah, but it's all out there, and thousands of people have messaged me asking whether I have seen the crash. Short answer, yes. Me and about 500 local people that live here, we see these kind of things almost on a daily basis. Well, not that extreme, but incidents, crashes, they happen multiple times a day here. It's just because they don't get out, because they either not exciting enough or there is no video footage, doesn't mean that stuff doesn't happen. So yes, I've seen that. And some of you have asked me to give you my opinion on it and who is to blame, what is to blame. In short, I will give you my opinion on that later in the video. In short, it's irrelevant. The most important thing is that everyone is safe and made it out alive. Before we get to the technicalities and the reminder about the rules in general and how it might affect you in case you come drive here and you're going to have an incident, first, 2 weeks ago, plus minus, I made an announcement where I said that I will not be taking passengers anymore, which had to do with liability, because I said I can buy people a new car, but I cannot buy them a new arm or a life. Judging by the reception, by the comments, thank you everyone for the support. Everyone was full of understanding, maybe some not completely happy, because content is going to change, but overall full of understanding. And I hate to say it, but the happenings of last 2 weeks have confirmed that this was the right decision, and that actually most likely next year I will step away from driving other people's cars completely. Why did I say last 2 weeks? Because this weekend we had this big GT3 RS and the M2 crash. Week before that, someone lost their life here at the Nürburgring. A 24-year-old kid, he was basically a kid, who was here with his best friends for a bachelor party, was driving with his GR Yaris, and according to reports, lost control of a vehicle. The car did a rollover. Him and the passenger were launched out of the car. Passenger was lucky to survive, other passenger as well. The driver not so much, because the car, I'll save you the details. So that was the first thing that is kind of like, yeah, it's not nice, not pretty, it's messed up. And it kind of told me, like, you know what, it's the right decision, things can always go wrong, etc. And now we had this. Enough about me and my decisions, because things can always go wrong. You can cross the street, bus can hit you, and etc. Everyone needs to make decisions for themselves. So let's talk now about this crash, this incident, so to say. A friend of mine, I think by now, after experiencing a lot of things over the last 2 days, I can even call him a friend, was driving his brand new GT3 RS on the Nürburgring. It's the same fella that took me out recently in the Lamborghini Revuelto, and he actually invited me if I would like to join him on a passenger seat in a 992 RS for actually no cameras even, just to have fun. Now, speaking of butterfly effect, if I would have joined them, maybe this thing would not have happened, because it would be a completely different timeline, but it makes you think, what if there was a passenger in the GT3 RS or in the M2? Ifs and buts, we can speculate that. Anyway, he was driving, and if you see like longer than just like 2 seconds what happens before the incident, you see that he was doing very low speeds, about 30 kilometers per hour below what you would usually go through the corners. And actually, as he was approaching the BMW M2, he went off the gas, because the car was not completely making the line free. And then when the M2 moved over, he started to accelerate, and then last moment, the M2 went back and hit them in the back, dragged them, made him, well, caught him as well, and the GT3 RS dragged him into the barrier, after which the car exploded. Yeah, and then after hitting the barrier, the fuel tank exploded. I never seen anything like that. So do all Porsche owners need to shake in their Stand 21 Martini boots right now? I don't think so. It's one of those freak accidents that is most likely not going to repeat itself. And even if it will, as mentioned, the driver survived. As a matter of fact, he was not wearing helmet, Hunt system, or fireproof overall because it was just an easy TF lap that turned into something not so nice. I still don't know how he survived, but he has, I think, 5 scratches and 2 bruises, mostly from his seatbelt. So, Porsche engineers, top job. BMW engineers as well, because the M2 driver survived as well. Now, who is to blame? What has happened there? 2 things that you need to know. First of all, during public sessions, Nürburgring is classified as a public road. Therefore, it's being classified as a one-way, but 2-lane toll road, where slow traffic stays on the right, fast traffic goes on the left. Therefore, according to this regulation, BMW M2 should stay on the right, and the GT3 RS can pass, and it should be, you could say, more or less okay. The second rule is that to avoid any kind of liability to the Nürburgring or to anyone in Germany or whatsoever, the rule is that you are allowed to drive only as fast that you are able to stop at any moment at any given time. Where does it take us? So M2 move over to the right, GT3 RS actually slowed down before, so he was not doing anything reckless. And then when the car moved out, he went for the overtake. M2 did not see him and went in. Fault of BMW M2 driver for not looking in the mirrors or not having the spatial awareness that when the GT3 RS is already here, that he didn't look like, oh, something is actually coming in the mirror or right next to me. Shit, let's move out. Awareness. Second thing, also I personally think, and related to the previous rule number 2, that everyone is you need to stop at any given moment. GT3 RS driver also needs to be aware of what if the driver from a different country did not indicate, did not see me, maybe he's gonna close the gap. We can talk about this for a very long time. The bottom line is, again, on a public road, police gets involved in these kind of incidents. They look at the evidence and they see what has happened, and then they make their decision based on what the rules are. So slow traffic stays on the right, fast traffic passes left, and everyone needs to be aware of the situation. So worst case scenario, M2 driver will be to blame, or his insurance, or the lack of his insurance, because UK cars are excluded. So his insurance might pay out, but then they will say you breached our terms and conditions, and they're going to sue him for that money. This is how it usually goes. I'm just telling you from experiences. So he might be liable for the barrier damage, for helicopter ride of himself and the driver, the GT3 RS, and worst case, maybe the GT3 RS itself as well. Those are hard realities and hard facts. The best worst case scenario is that the police is going to say 50-50, or maybe 1/4 and 3/4. But it's not a nice situation. What I want to say is, first of all, most importantly, everyone's okay. Second of all, about this whole ordeal, what really pissed me off is that some people that were completely irrelevant tried to grab this incident and make themselves relevant by putting it out, giving their opinions on it. Fine, I mean, I'm doing the same thing right now, essentially. But they were making it a bigger drama out of it. What the hell is happening on the Nürburgring, guys? This is a customer car that had an incident, and we're going to repair for him. So to answer your question, what is happening, guys? On a busy Sunday, we can have up to 500, well, the highest number is about 460 cars at the same time on a lap. 460 cars at the same time, non-stop driving because they're coming off, some are going in. Per hour of an average lap time of 10 minutes, this means 450, let's say, times 6. This gives us about 2,500 cars within a period of an hour. With a probability, like of an incident every 10,000 kilometers, or even 1% chance of an incident, whether it's going to be a breakdown, small crash, or a big crash. You've seen my videos, I don't need to tell you that. Like on a weekend when I film, you have like 3 or 4 yellow flags. Those yellow flags are there not because someone spilled coolant. Maybe yes, but also because of different things. So what I want to say is things like that happen all the time. Sometimes they're just small. Sometimes nobody cares about them because they're normality. And the most important thing, what I want to actually say now, is that they happen everywhere. Book a track day at your local track. The probability is very high that out of 100 cars that are going to participate, 1 is going to end up in the wall, maybe 2. Every track day I have been to, there is always damage. So it's a normal thing. When people drive fast, something is going to happen because it happens when you don't expect it. So what is happening at the Nürburgring? The same thing that happens everywhere else in the world and every other track. So be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. Stuff like that happens, and be prepared. Keep your mind in focus because stuff can go wrong, and if you do it often enough, it will go wrong. And be prepared to pick up the bill of your own car, or maybe of the other car. And if you do not want to do it, then maybe do not drive, or drive a track day where the rules are a bit more not public road-ish, or have a German registered car that has insurance, etc. Again, it's a reminder of an actual liability thing, why also I stopped taking passengers out, because I am liable for their life and their car. Well, I'm actually not really liable for their car because I never asked for it and they're giving me the keys. But their life, there is no question behind it. You cannot go argue with that. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Stay safe out there. Stuff goes wrong, will go wrong on a track, on public roads. If you're going to say, but Nürburgring is a public road, go on the Autobahn, you're going to end up in a traffic jam because there's a crash ahead of you. So it happens every day, and actually the probability of an accident on a public road is actually higher than on the racetrack when you combine, statistically speaking. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's my opinion. Things like that happen. I don't want to make a big deal out of it. Be aware. Be always prepared that the guy in front of you might turn in on you. Be always prepared that your car might have a failure. And it's fine to have an accident when you are alone or driving your own car and there is no one involved, because that's how you move forward. That's how you find the limit. That's how you go ahead, etc. When other people are not injured, not endangered, go out there, have some fun, do stupid stuff. That's what tracks are for. Getting too philosophical here right now, so I think that's all I want to say. So thanks for your attention, and keep the same level of attention on the track.